Okay, thanks for joining again. We've got some folks that they're both with an organization that we're all familiar with, Nebraska Furniture Mart. Tiffaney Kuper is with the organization, as well as Megan Barlow. Megan and I have known each other for a long time. I'm attracted to the organization just because I know that they want to have fun with their employees. It's something that they're very focused on. This has obviously greatly changed their organization. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the changes and how it's affected the organization, and then what they're doing as a reaction to some of those changes. So first of all, thank you both for joining me today. I appreciate it.
You bet.
You're welcome.
Tell us a little bit about just how the world has changed and what at Nebraska Furniture Mart, what it looks like these days versus the way it was just a few months ago.
Well, hey, Ken, thanks for the opportunity to share this, and thanks for what you're doing to help everybody manage in this difficult time. This is Megan, and, I think the obvious thing that people think about is everyone's working from home. And not only as an individual worker am I working from home, but I'm doing that with kids who have, are no longer going to school in a building, pets and partners and limited internet resources and just all those types of things. Limited office tools. So many people had 2, even 3 sometimes, computer monitors, and we're just all working in such a different world. And I think that is probably universally the same, but what I think we're maybe missing sometimes is that it's not just how we're doing our work, but the actual work that we're doing that's different. So for example, at Nebraska Furniture Mart, we've continued to stay open online even when our physical showrooms were closed. So a lot of our business has shifted to online. And we had to shift to meet those demands, the customer demands. A great example might be, traditionally people didn't purchase a sofa online. They would want to come in and see that and sit on it for a while and think about it. And that's changed now because that's really not an option. So again, it's not just that we're doing things at home, the things that we are actually doing, the business in itself has changed.
And how do you find time to redirect that? I mean, what does that look like for you and your teams to say, okay, now we have to do it this way? I mean, is that just, have you sat down and started to develop kind of this new world strategy, knowing that it may not get back to the way it's always been, or what does that look like?
That's probably the hardest realization for, we're human beings, right? And change is hard. So, while the challenge of something new looked great in the beginning, again, a way to keep our sales going while maybe the showrooms were closed, you get to a point where you do have to acknowledge this may be, quote unquote, the new normal, and things may not ever go back to exactly the way they were. So personally, just giving myself time to let that sink in. And maybe on a more personal example, I've got coworkers that I, care about deeply and enjoy their company daily. And they're a part of, my tribe. And so when I can't be with them, that's really hard. So I've had to make time, for example, to just call and say, hey, this isn't going to be a work call. We're just going to chat about things.
Right.
Those things would happen organically in the office. You might walk by with a new jacket on or a lunch from somewhere, and that would, just organically start the conversation. But that's not happening now. It's just me, myself, and I sitting at the end of my kitchen bar. So I have to reach out to those people and make sure that those connections stay real. Hopefully as much for them as for me, because it's been real important to me.
Tiffaney, tell me about that, about the team. And I know that, you are close to your team based on the conversations we had with the panel a couple of weeks ago. Just what's that been like for you?
Yeah, it's been really hard. I realized throughout this time that basically all my friends are coworkers, because those are the only people that I've been talking to while I've been working from home. This is wrapping up week 6 for me working from home. I was one of the first ones, my team and I, to go home. We've been doing some happy hours, and my team in particular really likes brunch. So we do Saturday morning brunch virtually instead of happy hours. And then I have a different group that likes happy hours, so we do that as well. The biggest challenge has been most of my team is furloughed right now, and not everyone is. So it's very delicate about what you can talk about when you get together, because the people that are furloughed don't want to make us feel bad that we're super busy with work and all of those things, and those of us that aren't furloughed don't want them to feel bad because we're still working and they don't have that opportunity. So I think it's a delicate balance, and also just staying up on personal stuff. Like Megan said, I normally would talk with somebody at work as we're, passing in the hallway or whatnot. And now you have to make a concerted effort to ask about what's going on in their life and how's your family and what types of things are you doing. And you have to get creative about what to talk about because you're not talking as much as you used to.
Right. And I know that you as an organization, I heard from Megan about the hashtag I Will Listen campaign that you started well before this pandemic came along. But tell me a little bit about just what you're doing to help your employees manage through the stress and anxiety of some of the things that you've described already.
I'll take that one first and then let Megan add.
Great.
So we've been doing, as we have since we launched the I Will Listen campaign, which was over a year ago, we've been promoting the hashtag again on Facebook and just reminding, kind of tweaking the message a little bit. So in the past, it's been kind of generic, like, if anything's going on, just call me and I will listen, reach out, call me, text me, whatever it takes. And now it's a little bit different. If you're anxious about being home all the time, or you're anxious about pay, or you're anxious about all of these things, a lot around anxiety, but, or depressed or sad or whatever feeling you're having related to all the things that are going on right now, and then using the same hashtag I will listen to just let people know that it's not easy. And I know Megan has been very real with us, and I've been very real with my team about how I'm feeling about things, because I think if I go around pretending like it's no big deal, then they feel they can't be real with me either. They can't be open and honest, and I don't want that. So it's been a very humbling experience to be so transparent with my team. Not that I'm not transparent about work stuff, but just personally about everything going on. So that's kind of how I see it, and just trying to get that message to our managers and get it out through the organization.
One of our other leaders, when we talked about things that they're doing, he went immediately to those traits as a leader: the vulnerability and the transparency and the nonstop communication. So those traits are incredibly important and so valuable, aside from just some of the things that we can do to help as well. Megan?
I have a great story here about kind of I will listen in real time. And it came from our Kansas City location. We had an employee there, an essential employee in terms of work, and a valued member of the team that was really just struggling with the need to come into the office one day to do some work. And we have lots of safety protocols and precautions set up, and this person wouldn't even be really working with other people, but was just struggling with that whole thing. And our HR manager and our store exec, sat down and had a conversation and just said, what is really going on? And, now is not the time, the way we say it at Nebraska Furniture Mart is, now is not the time to be a dysfunctional member of our family. We've got a lot of people who aren't working, and we need everyone else who's remained working to really hold their weight during this time so that we can get through it together and come out on the other side better. Anyway, so the HR and the store leader both really talked to this guy and just listened and kept asking what's really going on. And finally, the guy kind of broke down and said, I've struggled with this for a long time. I want to be more open to people and want to be better connected. And they said, okay, so stop. We're not going to worry about this work-related issue now, because we need to get you at your, optimal, healthy self. And they wrapped up the conversation, and he was very grateful. And the store exec down there said, hey, I just want to remind you, the very first thing you're going to do when you walk out of this office is go call EAP. Just really reiterating to people that, that these underlying things that you might have been able to deal with when the world was quote unquote normal, well, when you start heaping on all these other changes and anxieties and uncertainties, it's bound to flare and poke out for people, sometimes in ways that they're not even aware of. So, I just really appreciate that a true executive would be more concerned with someone's overall well-being and mental health than just their quote unquote work readiness status.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that continues to be a common theme is we've always thought about programs and what do you plug in and make available to help people. And, the EAP is one thing, but what was different in what you just described is that instead of an 800 number on a poster by the water fountain, there was a sit down conversation to say, how are you and what can I do to help? And I love that organizations are taking that stance to recognize that they have a responsibility to connect with their people and help them out and really take that responsibility serious. I mean, that's just a prime example of that happening. So what else? Is there any other things that the organization is doing that you can point to? Or
I do. I kind of have some neat things I think we're doing.
okay.
We've got one executive in our IT area, and her entire team has been deployed. So they are all working from home with a couple of, real few exceptions, but they're at home. And so she's been sending out kind of a weekly update just to let them know the status of the business. Mm-hmm. And again, people need hope right now. More than ever, people need hope. And so her commitment to that, letting them know what's happening, how things are progressing, and that, our store will reopen and things will be okay, has been great. I also heard from them, we do some pulse surveys weekly to check in with people, and this came from that. She sends out like a funny joke or something at the end of it. So I think helping people remember to take the opportunity to laugh, even when it's not really that funny right now. It's not, things are tough. But so I really appreciated that. We've been doing a lot of videos. Our president has been doing videos, and we're sending them out even to our staff who aren't working right now via their personal emails and their personal text message. So really making an effort to stay connected to people. One of the favorite things that people always comment on after they've been part of the NFM family is that our chairman sends out a birthday call. So he calls your work number every year and says, happy birthday. Well, we realized that for a large part of our staff, they would miss that. They would not be getting that birthday call. So he made the commitment, and we ordered special cards, and not only are we sending them out a birthday wish from him, but he's signing every single one of them, making sure that people know that their birthday is still important, even if they're not physically part of the workforce right now, that they're still part of the NFM family.
That's really cool. Well, when I talk about NFM family having fun, I mean, it obviously has been around a long time, and that concept, I kind of see Megan sometimes as the face of that, but clearly that is something that has been part of the organization for a very long time. And I think that those ideas will be really helpful for other organizations to latch onto, to get some ideas around how do they help their people deal with the stress and anxiety of all this. So I can't thank you all enough for just taking a few minutes to catch up and share with us how things are going at your organization, and provide some great ideas for others to see.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
You bet.
Yeah, thanks, Ken. Fantastic.
Thank you.